In July 2024, Nigel Farage finally achieved his longest-held political ambition. After 7 failed attempts, he won a seat in Parliament representing the coastal town of Clacton-on-Sea. Leading up to that victory, his online presence exploded. His social media channels, particularly his active TikTok account, were generating massive engagement metrics and reaching millions of younger voters. This momentum was backed by a highly expensive professional machine, operating well beyond the typical volunteer-led local campaign. A dedicated political activist was pulling a £55,000 salary to run the TikTok strategy. Elite teams of former soldiers were hired for personal security, and Farage was given access to a luxury residential property right near Buckingham Palace that cost tens of thousands of pounds a month to rent. Under UK rules, members of Parliament have to declare their registrable financial interests to prevent hidden influences. However, the Reform UK party argued this extensive backing didn't need to be disclosed. They claimed the entire operation was a favor from a wealthy friend, a man known in political circles as Posh George. George Cottrell was born into high society. His grandfather was a baron who inherited a family soap empire, and his mother is a well-known aristocrat who briefly dated the future King Charles. His early life was marked by extreme financial volatility. He was expelled from a prestigious independent school over a gambling addiction, and he allegedly had a habit of walking into betting shops carrying tens of thousands of pounds in physical cash. At just 22, Cottrell volunteered for a UKIP by-election and quickly made himself indispensable to Nigel Farage. He became the party's head of fundraising and operated as the ultimate Farage whisperer, managing his daily schedule, handling logistics, and anticipating exactly when he needed a beer or a moment of quiet. That intense proximity kept Cottrell by Farage's side during the Brexit referendum, and shortly after, they traveled together to the United States for the 2016 Republican National Convention to support Donald Trump. As the two men prepared to fly back to the UK, federal agents intercepted them at the airport and placed Cottrell under arrest. Cottrell had walked into an FBI sting operation. He had been recorded offering to launder cash for undercover agents posing as drug traffickers. Facing decades in prison for blackmail, extortion, and money laundering, he took a plea deal for wire fraud and served 8 months. Farage did not distance himself from his longtime ally after the conviction. He kept Cottrell at his side through the following decade of high-stakes political campaigning. After his release, Cottrell relocated to Montenegro and immersed himself in the offshore, unregulated economy. He emerged as a reported key player in an online casino that allows users to place large bets on sports and politics using cryptocurrency. Armed with this new crypto-derived wealth, Cottrell stepped back into UK politics in 2023. He immediately started writing checks to bolster Farage's digital profile, starting with that £55,000 salary for a TikTok operative. He also acted as an aggressive talent agent, negotiating a £1.5 million fee for Farage to appear on the reality TV show I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, to guarantee him weeks of primetime cultural exposure. Then came the physical infrastructure. Cottrell arranged fleets of drivers and elite private security, while simultaneously securing a high-end residential base for Farage right in the center of Mayfair, and Cottrell is nearly always in the room. When Farage launched his campaign in Clacton and was hit with a milkshake by a protester, it was Cottrell standing right next to him, grabbing his arm to pull him through the crowd. By privately footing the bill for salaries, housing, and security, Cottrell has become the primary underwriter for the core logistics of Farage's public life. That spending reached a legal checkpoint in July 2024. When Farage was officially elected as an MP, he automatically became subject to strict government oversight. The rules of Parliament are explicit. New members must formally declare any financial interests and registrable benefits they received in the 12 months leading up to their election. Farage's official register does list a few items from Cottrell, specifically a £9,000 trip to Belgium and a £15,000 domestic flight in the US. But the structural assets, the TikTok staffer, the private security, and the Mayfair rent, were omitted from the ledger. The reported travel costs account for only a fraction of the market value of the staff, security, and real estate used by the campaign. The Reform UK party maintains that no rules were broken. Their defense is that because these resources were provided prior to the election and were given in a purely personal capacity between friends, they are entirely exempt from parliamentary scrutiny. If that defense stands, it creates an opening in the UK's transparency laws. It implies that influence no longer requires a direct, legally regulated campaign donation, not if a wealthy fixer can quietly underwrite a politician's entire operational existence under the simple name of friendship.